What's up, everybody? It's KO here, and today I wanted to take a look at this game that I played with Nazeebo in Hero League. Well, just talk about Nazeebo a little bit in general because I've actually been revisiting him a little bit. Um, Obviously, Nazeebo kind of has that place where people put him in like the fourth or like fifth tier of picks, and understandably so. He's been out of the competitive pool for a long time, and overall, he just isn't being played that much. But I wanted to talk a little bit about why you shouldn't completely count Nazeebo out, and why I still feel like he does have some strengths and some reason to be picked. So obviously, the biggest reason that Nazeebo isn't picked is because his damage, although it is high on the charts, is considered to be not really effective damage. And what I mean by that is the damage is not very controlled. It feels like it's kind of all over the place in terms of what actually happens and where your damage is going because you can't control your spiders. And although you can place your toads on a path, it's still hard to guarantee that they're going to get value from where you send them. So you're kind of just spamming out these toads and spiders and hoping that they get some good value on targets. And while that is resulting in a high amount of damage, a lot of times you have a hard time focusing targets that people are calling, and that's why in competitive it just doesn't feel very good because everyone's calling one target and your spiders don't necessarily listen to target calling. So uh, anyways, though, this is a Hero League game I played Nazeebo in, and I've been playing this build with Nazeebo where actually I was doing the same build with Gargantuan, but recently I've been trying it with Ravenous, and it feels a whole lot better. And the biggest reason for Ravenous being so strong is because you actually do have that follow up for like big stuns and setups. So, for example, if you have like an ETC or a Muradin, even like if you had like an ETC Tyrande, everyone knows how strong ETC stunning with the Tyrande mark stun follow up is. And usually you have like some kind of follow up like a Greymane, maybe even a Jaina or a Vala or somebody there to like do more damage to that target. But what you never see is somebody drop a Ravenous on that target. But wow, that does an insane amount of damage actually. And you can chase down the kills usually with Ravenous. So that's what I've been trying to experiment with is just, waiting for a good stun follow up to drop Ravenous on. Actually, in the replay right there, we were trying to kill the ETC, but I think he got cleansed out and saved. Um, well, they actually don't have cleanse. He just got out. But, anyways, I have had a lot of success with following up and being able to kill targets that people are going on. Now, one of the biggest problems with Ravenous that I dealt with this particular Hero League match was Gust, and Gust is actually super super annoying because they can see where you're casting Ravenous from, so they can just snap Gust you right away. But what you're going to get with this particular build of Nazeebo is the ability to have a extremely good scaling into the late game. That's why I like this, especially on Infernal Shrine so much. And Tomb of the Spider Queen, because you can make those games go very late into the game. They aren't usually just like one objective, pushing down and winning the game. Usually, especially with the Punisher, John Cena, there's a lot of opportunity to kite him around to different structures and stuff and just keep the game going. And that means more stacks for you. In this particular game, I was at 167 stacks at this point, which is actually very low for this amount of time in the game. But it's just because we had so many brawling team fights. And if you watch these clips, you can see how hard frogs are actually hitting in these late game team fights, like 4 to 500 per frog, which is really, really insane. That's so much damage. And not to mention the spiders constantly tagging people means you always are finding people in flanks. You're getting people in vision. You can do a lot for your team. I actually really like that side of Nazeebo that you can really sniff flanks out extremely well, and it's extremely hard for people to get good positioning on the side because a lot of times with characters you know where they are, you just can't do that much about it. But with Nazeebo you just throw spiders and the leaping spiders will stick on people. The level 20 upgrade, by the way, on Ravenous is insane. The huge cast range that you get and the speed that it has. I mean, you can chase people down really easily, and you're almost always safe from being interrupted by anything but like a gust, a huge range interrupt. So yeah, this build we'll just go over it real quick in the talent choices that I have here. I'm just going to go ahead and pause the replay so that we can focus on this a little bit. Okay, so level 1, you're going to go Blood Death Ritual, which is the stacking talent. This is super crucial. With Nazeebo, you want to be on rotation as much as possible. I think that's actually key. You don't really want to be the solo laner for your team because you actually do have decent wave clear, throwing your spiders and if you need to, a zombie wall and toads on the wave. And you're going to be getting a lot of stacks if you're on rotation, getting 2 waves, both minion waves per cycle. So at level 4, you're going to want to go Spider Cluster. This is extremely important for later on when you're getting leaping spiders. Just a lot more damage over time on the enemy team. This is like all your pre-fight poke damage, dismounting power, and all of that comes from having these 2 talents. So you basically have 2 synergies going on with this build. You have the spiders, the Nazeebo standard, but you also have the toads, and that's going to be the 7 and 13 talent. So basically, both your toads and your spiders are going to be extremely powerful and scale very, very well going into the late game. And your W is just going to be there to be used as a body blocking tool, a self-peeling tool, and basically whatever you need it for other than that. So you got Toads of Affinity at level 7. Now this is an interesting one. The Plague Toads restore 5 mana and reduces cooldown by 1 second for each enemy hit. What that means, by the way, is that it has to hit every different enemy. So it can't just be like 3 toads hit the same person, you get 3 seconds. It has to be like toads hitting different things, which is pretty easy to do most of the time. You reliably are going to get like 3 to 4 seconds off your cooldown when you throw toads. And in team fights where there's multiple melee, oh my gosh, this is powerful. So you're just like throwing toads out. You're at least getting the 2 seconds plus anything else that hits, which usually you're hitting 3 things. And that is just a huge amount of damage, especially late game, like you saw there, where toads are hitting for upwards of 400 or 500. Level 10, I'm taking Ravenous now. I think, there's a chance that Garg might still be better when you're playing against a Falstad because of Gus being such a good counter for Ravenous, but I'm not entirely sold on that yet. That's just a thought I've been having. At level 13, Toads of Hugeness. This is an extremely important talent in my opinion because the toads on their own, the normal toads, don't do that much damage, but Toads of Hugeness makes them so large and do so much damage. It's extremely hard for the enemy team to avoid taking frog damage unless they're literally kiting away from the fight completely. They take up like the whole cone in front of you. So I think that's super important. That's a very pivotal talent for this build, especially if you're going the CDR reduction on toads. By the way, this build is insanely fun to play. You're just constantly throwing out these huge toads that are chunking people. By the way, these Toads of Hugeness at max range will do like 30 to 40% of a squishy's health per frog. So if you hit 2 to 3 frogs, you almost kill the enemy. Usually, like I've had situations where I've taken a Falstad down to like 10% from one group of toads. Level 16 leaping spiders. Again, going back to that synergy with the level 4, you can have 3 more extra spiders coming out. And these guys are so freaking annoying if you've been on the other team versus this. Just constantly chasing you around, applying that dot on you. You can't mount, you can't do anything, and it puts that poison on you. At level 20, you could go Bolt or the Ravenous upgrade. I think the Ravenous upgrade is better, especially for what I'm trying to accomplish with Nazeebo most of the time. And yeah, so that's the build overall. You're gonna have an insane amount of poke. It's a lot of fun because of the cooldown reduction. And just keep your eye out for a couple things. One is to constantly keep yourself in a safe position. You have to be in a safe position. For this build to get value in team fights, you need to be getting like 3 to 4 rounds of your cooldowns off. And like that, your spiders and your toads need to keep coming out. And you do have the tools to use a lot of range here, so don't be standing right up on top of people trying to... Like, one of the biggest mistakes I see with Nazeebo is that people try to run up aggressively and be like, zombie wall in your face. And then they just get like run over because there's enough mobility from other characters that they can just get on top of Nazeebo, and he has no way to get out unless you have Bolt. So don't be that guy. Use the W as peels, as a zoning tool, especially for like flanks if you see a melee trying to come around behind your team. There's a lot of situations that you can use zombie wall in intelligently, but the wrong way to do it is to try and run up with your tank and catch somebody in a zombie wall. Stay back when your tank goes in and stuns somebody, hit them with a Ravenous instead. That's my suggestion. Anyways, guys, try this out. I've actually had luck with this in scrims and in Hero League, so I really do believe in this build. I think it's extremely strong. Let me know what you guys think about it. We did end up winning this Hero League game, and actually kind of a sentimental game for me, because this indeed was the game that at one point I went AFK during this game to go say bye to Soldier. He was leaving the house during this game. Not only that, he left me these beautiful hand warmers from an event. He knows how much I love hand warmers, so that was extremely special. Probably the most intimate thing he could have possibly gotten me. But yeah, so this is my farewell to Soldier game. He was a Nazeebo god back in the day as well. And yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Try out this build. Let me know how you feel about it. I'm not trying to say like snap first pick Nazeebo in Hero League. Please don't do that and then be like, KO told me to do this. Go flame him. But if the opportunity arises, try it out. Have fun with it. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.